the second last chapter of First Chronicles. That's chapter 28. I want to read for us from verse 1 to 3. I hope you're doing great. I'm so happy that you've joined us. Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. I'm so grateful that you've joined us. If by any chance this is the first time you're listening to this, my name is Frank and I'm Wakeji's friend. So I'm going to read for us from verse 1 to 3 of chapter 28. How we will take this chapter today is that I'll read a few portions, then I'll make a few comments as we go. So welcome and let's enjoy it together. Verse 1. David summoned all the officials of Israel to assemble at Jerusalem. The officers over the tribes, the commanders of the divisions in the service of the king, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, and the officials in charge of all the property and livestock belonging to the king and his sons, together with the palace officials, the warriors, and all the brave fighting men. King David rose to his feet and said, "Listen to me, my fellow Israelites, my people. I had it in my heart to build a house as a place of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord, for the footstool of our God, and I made plans to build it. But God said to me, 'You are not to build a house for my name, because you are a warrior and you have shed blood.'" Now, if you've been reading this First Chronicles, you know that there are so many times that David has said this over and over again, that he had it in his heart to build this temple for God, but then God said no. Yeah, and if you listen to how it's being said, if you listen to the tone with which David is saying it, I think one thing we can deduct with confidence is the fact that it was really important for David that he built this temple. You can look at how many times he's spoken about this. He's repeated it over and over again. The truth, the reality is that this man, this king, really wanted to build a temple for God. He was so passionate about it. And even when God said no, he went out of his way to raise resources for it and be like, you know what? I may not get to build it, but I will do something about it. And I keep asking myself, is it any wonder then that David was called a man after God's own heart? That it really disturbed him so much that he was not the one to build this temple for God. He accepted it, but you can tell he accepted it reluctantly. And so you can tell it's just like something he really wanted to do. And I kept asking myself, am I this way? Like, am I this passionate about the things of God? Am I this passionate about wanting to do certain things for God? And I'm like, I will not stop at anything. I want to do that thing. Yani, until it's God who has to tell you no. Yeah. So that's the first thing that we see, just the passion that David had. And that passion must inform our own passion for us to be like, you know, for you and I, yeah, are we this hot, passionate about the things of God? Let's continue reading in verse 6 to 10. It says this. Now David is blessing Solomon. He said to me, Solomon, this is God. God said to David, Solomon, your son is the one who will build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. I will establish his kingdom forever if he is unswerving in carrying out my commands and laws, as is being done at this time. So now I charge you in the sight of all Israel and of the assembly of the Lord, and in the hearing of our God, be careful to follow all the commands of the Lord your God, that you may possess this good land and pass it on as an inheritance to your descendants. I'm going to repeat verse 8. Part B again. It says, be careful to follow all the commands of the Lord your God, that you may possess this land, this good land, and pass it on as an inheritance to your descendants forever. And then it continues and continues and continues. But let me read verse 10. Consider now, for the Lord has chosen you to build a house as the sanctuary. Be strong and do the work. Yeah. So this is David charging Solomon to go and build the temple. But the thing that I wanted you to see here is He says, I will establish you if you obey and follow my laws. But there's a verse there that talks about he will be successful. Yeah, if he follows the commands of God. Now, this is a verse that we've seen in Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. When God was handing over to Joshua, that's what he told him. He told him, be strong and follow this book of the law. That is the only way you're going to be successful. Here, David is handing over to Solomon. It's the same thing he tells him. Be strong, be courageous, follow this book of the law. That's the only way you're going to be successful. Yeah, and I just want us to see here that this verse, it's repeated in Deuteronomy 31, 31. It's repeated in Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. It's repeated in Psalm chapter 1. It's repeated here. Our success comes from following the law of God. Our success comes from following the word of God. And sometimes I wonder, if we can see this, Moses is telling Joshua this, God is telling Joshua this, David has said it in Psalm chapter 1, and then here, David is telling Solomon, your only way to succeed is if you follow the word of God. And sometimes I wonder, why then do we try to do anything different? Yeah, these men that we look up to, these men who won, Joshua and David fought countless wars. Moses led these people and he led them in such a wonderful way, following the word of God. And all of them, when they assemble in that fire on the evening, and you ask them, how did you do this? The way we like asking people, how did you? If you sat down Joshua, sat down Moses, sat down David, all of them would tell you the same thing. The only way we succeeded is because we followed the word of God. And David knows this so well, that's why he's passing it on to his son Solomon. And the question I'm asking you today is, why are you trying other formulas? Why are you busy trying to do this and do that and read this book, the 7 habits, the 10 things you must know? Just read the word of God. People who have succeeded have told you, this is the key to success. Follow the commands of God. I think we have it in us to see this. And I think that we must pause at this charge that David is giving his son Solomon and listen to that verse one more time. Be careful to follow all the commands of the Lord your God, that you may possess this good land and pass it on as an inheritance to your descendants forever. And you, my son Solomon, acknowledge the God of your father, serve him with wholehearted devotion, with a willing mind, for the Lord searches every heart and understands every desire and every thought. If you seek him, he will be found by you. But if you forsake him, he will reject you forever. Guys, we have been given the key for life. The key for life is to seek God, to stay in his word. Seek God, stay in his word. Success will come. All these fathers in the faith, Moses has told you that, David has told us that, Joshua was told that, Solomon is being told this. Let us just take this word and obey it in our lives. And let us know with a strong conviction 2 things. Seek God, stay in his word. That's the gateway. That's the way to success. That's the way to being established in anything that you're doing. Seek God, stay in his word. That's it for today. I really hope that God gives you the conviction that you need to seek him passionately and to stay in his word relentlessly, because that's the only way you're going to make it. God bless you and have a fantastic day ahead. Bye.